Everyone, this is Christina Silva, your United States Marine Corps veteran advocate and host. I am so happy and proud to work weekends, and I want to wish everyone a happy Labor Day weekend. We have a very special expose for you today. We have a sister, we have a fellow service member, but more importantly, we promise you subject matter experts that truly know what the life of a military member and family means and what the sacrifice costs. So today we want to welcome our very special guest who was born in Sacramento at Mather Air Force Base. She has a family of service members we want to honor and thank for their elite United States Air Force service. Without further ado, let's welcome Janae Broussard to the Christina Silva Show.
Hello.
Now, Janae, it's going to be hard for you to sit there in all of your beauty and listen to me brag about your accomplishments with the highest rank of Staff Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force. And it's so wonderful that you got to serve 6 wonderful and decorated years at Keesler Air Force Base in the heart of Mississippi with all that soul food.
It was
And
nice.
you have an excellent career because you have a lot of aspirations before and after the military. But on every Christina Silva show, we make the world know that educating our veterans live is a community responsibility. And there's something powerful about storytelling. And I met you at a special time, and we're going to close the show and let everyone know that our time and our sisterhood is no accident. And everyone that has ever served gets this instant connection and camaraderie when we meet as service members, no matter the branch. From the Marines, it's a tall order to serve, and there are so many regimented things we learn that never leave us. We call it esprit de corps, and so do all of the armed forces branches. And you have that esprit de corps. And when I met you, I'm like, oh my gosh, sister for life. I happen to be in Vegas. I work in Nevada and California serving veterans. And it was my turn to come out to Vegas and connect with some of my people over here. And I said, you know what? I just felt like you. I felt you. And I said, let me call Janae and see how she's doing. And it exploded into this amazing conversation that we both needed to have. So I
Yeah,
just want to say thank you for your vulnerability and for your beauty and for your openness to come and talk with me today.
absolutely. I appreciate you.
Well, everyone, Janae is a mother first, and she is definitely no stranger to scrubs and stilettos. And she brings a fierce and powerful voice of trauma and triumph. And today she's going to share her story with you so that you, as civilians and family members and dependents of military members, can truly connect and, like I said, understand the sacrifice of selfless service. So, Janae, let's start where you grew up and tell me about your family because I know your bed was made with a mom and dad that served in the Air Force.
Yes. So both of my parents were in the Air Force. I was actually a dependent baby for a very short amount of time. My mom got out shortly after I was born, but I was born at Mather Air Force Base up in Sacramento. Then I lived in Sacramento my entire life up until I left for boot camp at age 24. And so I grew up with my mom, my dad, my older brother, who is 4 years older than myself, and my younger brother, who's 5 years younger than I, who was also in the Air Force.
Yes.
Childhood.
Excellent.
Okay. It was a childhood.
Yes, Sacramento is a very great town because it's the home of California's governmental bodies and the California Department of Veterans Affairs. So that town is very rich with legal orders for our state of California, which is home to the most veterans on the planet. And it's also a place that's going through a lot of transition with its commercial growth and a lot of building there. But growing up years back when you joined the military, it's divided into these quadrants. Tell me about your neighborhood and some of the things you learned growing up.
So I grew up in South Sacramento. I'm from East Sacramento, Rancho Cordova. That's where I lived up until about age 4, and then we moved to South Sacramento. And it's funny you asked that because recently I asked my mom. I said, as a child, did y'all just kind of shield us from external factors? Because when I've gone back as an adult and I know things change over time, it's not as safe over there, I should say, as it was in the early 2000s when I was growing up. But I think that ultimately I saw a vision for myself. I might be skipping a little bit forward, but I knew even if I do go back to Sacramento, I didn't see myself spending my entire life in Sacramento. And I didn't see myself just living in South Sacramento the rest of my life. And so that's kind of where the Air Force started kind of tingling in my ear.
Yes. So you remember as a child being on base or being exposed to your parents when they were in uniform and when they weren't, like Camies2Civies. Do you remember fond memories of that?
To a degree, because I was super duper young. But something that I do remember is growing up, all of my cousins and aunts and uncles, I didn't know until about middle school that we weren't actually related, that those were just my parents' military friends and their kids. And those are still my cousins to this day. I still talk to kids from like other military kids.
Interesting. That's that bond that we're talking about today, Americanism. Thank you to everyone who's ever served our nation. I love saying that with every show. God bless America.
Yeah,
Thank you for your family's service, Janae. That is a
thank
very,
you.
very wonderful and sacrificial thing. And it's also something that is proud everywhere we go because you never know who has served and you never know what someone's story is from the era that they served. So let's talk about your parents and their military occupational specialty.
Yes. So both of them were 4L-X1s, which is what I ended up being, which is a aerospace medical technician. And they both met at Mather. They both worked at Mather together. And then both of them did exactly what I did and became LVNs as civilians or close to becoming civilians. And then that carried my parents up until retirement.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. So we're not only talking about service to our nation with an oath and with the integrity, honor, courage, bravery, valor that it takes to become an airman. We're talking about serving others before self to help them heal and transform after small to major injuries. That in itself is an exposure to something called physical, social, mental, and spiritual trauma and resilience. No matter whether your brain knows it's supposed to affect you positively or negatively, thank you for seeing that, enduring, and becoming a specialist at your field, and also for wanting to follow through with God's calling on your life to become a professional LVN after service.
Yes.
Wow. You joined the military at 24.
Yes.
So let's talk about your education. You know, graduating high school, did a recruiter approach you?
So the first time I thought about the Air Force, I was actually 19. But then I kind of got scared. I was like, I don't know, I'm not necessarily ready. And so I did do the community college route for a little bit. And then when I, in a sense, felt like that was going nowhere, I went to a private nursing school and life threw its lemons at me. And I didn't make lemonade. I failed out of nursing school.
Oh my goodness.
I turned
But
around, worked for a little bit. About 2 years after I failed out of nursing school, it was shortly after I turned 23, I went to try to get back in nursing school and they weren't trying to give me financial aid. And so I remember talking to God in the parking lot and I said, if this doesn't work out, I'm joining the Air Force. And it didn't work out. And I contacted a recruiter and it wasn't the right time. Then about 6 months later, I contacted another recruiter and then the rest is history.
goodbye, Sacramento.
Yes.
Hello, basic training. What
Yes.
an onion you just peeled back. The yellow sweet kind that's like kind of bittersweet and makes you
Yes.
cry when you peel it. But you were determined. And that is one thing that I want everyone to take away from your show: determination, and then loyalty, and then deciding and executing, even if there are milestones and hurdles along the way. You can do anything, you can overcome anything, you can adapt to any situation, and you can be successful. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, get to basic training. What did you realize the first day when you finally decided, okay, I'm joining the Air Force and I'm in?
We got to Lackland Air Force Base. It's good old San Antonio. And I remember thinking, first off, why is it so hot here? Because I went in September. And secondly, I thought, what am I doing? Did I make the right decision? And so it only took a few days into basic training for me to be identified as the dorm chief, which was not by choice, but my MTI saw something in me that I guess was meant to lead. And so the first couple weeks were a little rough, but once I got into the groove of things, it became second nature, kind of.
My goodness. Now you learned everything in basic training, even though you became an aerospace space medical technician, about
Yes.
the general Air Force history, how the Air Force operates. And let's talk about the process of the mental breakdown of becoming an airman and what the airman's creed means to you.
The breakdown. I still talk about this to my brother. I'm like, I feel like they took little 24-year-old, freshly 24-year-old Janae from Sacramento and like tore me down to build me back up into Airman Broussard. And that's honestly, like, I think the truth that that's what basic training does to you. It started to, it's just kind of strange how quickly you adapt to your circumstances. Like the things that we were doing in basic training, just as simple as not drinking coffee. It what didn't take long for like that old habits to die and for a new version of me to come along. And yeah, it was a different time. But looking back, basic training actually was kind of fun.
Wow. I mean, it's the way you describe it. I feel like I'm there with you at basic training. There are strangers all around you. I want to talk about an instant bond. You have your leadership to thank, and you are so profound when you say, they saw something in me and they knew I was a leader when maybe I did not yet, right?
Yes.
How about some of your fellow recruits going through the training?
Oh, I had like a good core group of friends. I was friendly, nice, compassionate to everyone, but I had a core group of friends, and we all lived in the same bay. And I still talk to some of them from time to time, if not on just on Facebook. Like we'll actually text here and there. A couple of them, it was four of us. Well, 3 out of 4 of us have kids now, and it's
Oh,
just kind of cool to see that I look at my parents and my aunts and uncles from growing up in that foundational friendship that was made. And those people are still in my life. And I'm 32 years old. And I can see that there's people that I went through that with that are still in my life to a degree. And we're watching each other's kids grow up. It's a beautiful experience.
yes. It's so wonderful how the digital systems we have with social media and being able to connect by cell phone or
Yes.
text keep.
Oh no. I hope that's not me freezing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go.
What that was, but it was an attack, and I'm back. You back? Ready?
Oh yes, I'm great.
Excellent, girl. Okay, let's go live. Uh, and I think we are live. And it was an attack of my technological computer. I believe we are live on Facebook still, and I was right in the middle of the depth of the story of Janae Broussard, our special guest today. She was sharing with me how important it is during basic training to be voluntold that you're a leader. And she was sharing the amazing relationships she has that still endure from basic training that she met. And some of her colleagues are raising kids like she's raising kids. And I was sharing the importance of digital media. I just want to thank the Marine Corps for training me. I have always a plan B, and I was sharing it with the guest. If my computer doesn't work in Vegas where I am and there's bad reception, my cell phone will be ready to take right over. And so I hope we're broadcasting live. So for part 2 of the story of Staff Sergeant, our U.S. Air Force veteran, Janae Broussard, she's going to tell us now what the Air Force did for her during her duty station, which was in Biloxi for the entire 6 years at Keesler Air Force Base. Take it away, Janae. Tell us some of the highlights, challenges, and triumphs you had with leadership, promotions, and over the years.
Yes. So I spent my time at Keesler from 2018 until 2023. So I had a good little chunk of time there. First and foremost, I thank God for blessing me with my daughter there. That's my biggest takeaway. But career-wise, I was able to learn the skills that I'm using in my everyday life now, even here present day 2025. going in as a brand new airman, fresh out of tech school, learning, I got pretty much thrown into the fire, and I started work. My first section was the med surge floor on in the hospital. While all my friends had these nice 9 to 5 clinic jobs, no, I was working 12-hour shifts. Immediately, 3 months later, went on to night shift while pregnant, stayed on night shift until I was about 8 months pregnant. And so I definitely feel like I not only gained more resiliency, was forced to use the resiliency in that time period. Because what are you going to do? You have responsibilities and duties. You can't really just, and you know this, you can't really just, oh, I don't feel like it today. And so
Yeah.
I think that pushed me to have a level of, how do I say this? Like, even further level of ambition, where it's, if I set a goal, I have to complete it, which can be kind of hard sometimes on the mental, but I think that's kind of a blessing and a curse in one. I feel like learning what I learned in med surg, that definitely kind of catapulted me right into getting my LVN license, because I was able to pick up a lot of knowledge with a lot of, like, a broad spectrum of patients. So getting my LVN license was, I don't want to say easy, but it was a little less challenging than it could have been.
Yes.
Like some of my big
That's
takeaways.
incredible, because the Air Force is giving you on-the-job training. So
Yes.
you're schooling, you're comprehending that. And that's very important, that all 4 of your domains and tenets, part of the Air Force Creed, is to have Sempra Supra values, above and beyond. You were doing that. And as much as you were being stretched and pulled and trained and ingrained and also imputed with that knowledge to serve in the med surge unit, you are making the flight, basically. You're flying above and beyond what you're supposed to do, and then
Yes.
your brain will follow. Your eyes take you where you want to go, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Now, did your younger brother of 5 years younger join the Air Force while you were still in?
Oh, yes. I left for boot camp September of 2017. He went and saw the recruiter November of 2017. And then he left for boot camp November of 2018.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I love the way that I met both of you. And I have to say, you look alike, you sound alike, and there is a love bond between you that is deeper than you with your older brother. And you're right in the middle, but you connect to them in different ways, but the love is the same. But there's
Absolutely.
nothing like the picture we're trying to paint today about service members that know the private things about what the Air Force makes you feel, right?
I do agree with that. I've actually said that before. Like, I love everyone in my immediate family equally, but I feel like there is a special bond that, like, my mother, my father, my little brother, and I have, because we get it. There are certain things that I can tell a civilian about, but telling a fellow veteran about, they're going to feel it differently.
Yes. So about resilience with regard to your family members that have served, your mom, your dad, other of your colleagues, you mentioned that you're raising kids, you have something in common. Having things in common is very important with your older and younger brother. And the responsibility you have is big to not only your fellow airmen that you're trying to heal as an LVN and a medical surge aerospace medical technician, you have to police leadership, and you also have to lead as a staff sergeant. Let's talk about that, leading others. Did you enjoy leading?
I did. It was the only thing that I didn't really enjoy about the leadership aspect, is the fact that I can pour into another person, but it gets kind of draining almost when it's like you're pouring into someone who doesn't want to receive that. And that's in the medical field as well. It can be, I feel like I'm very compassionate and I feel deeply for others. And so I just want to pour into you. But if your cup is too full for me to pour into, that can be somewhat frustrating to me.
Yes. I mean, you have it all. And we're going to talk about having it all. There is a perception that someone else's reality every day of our lives, and with this phone, computer systems, and social media platforms. We are on stage. We are a brand. We are a judgment magnet. And we are also a demand for others to take from us what they think that we're specialists or subject matter experts in, from mothering to working professionally, and also to just being a family member. And we have to realize when others, meaning our patients in your case, as an LVN, and your family member, your brother, hey, is everything okay today? I noticed something different about you. Let's talk about them and let's talk about us. So when you're serving others and you say it's taxing on you, how do you take care of yourself as a clinician, an LVN?
It's hard because I feel like I put my all into things. I give 10 out of 10 energy no matter what. I actually was just speaking to someone. I particularly work with children, and it's hard when, let's say, I'm having a bad day, but I'm not going to put that energy into a child that I'm caring for. And so it's not great, but sometimes you have to mask it a little bit. But when I have that time by myself, I try to just decompress, whatever that means, whether it's laying down watching Law and Order SVU, which is what I'm probably going to do for the rest of the day. Or I was telling my mom last night, I felt great because I was able to do a face mask. And it's like, I never really get the time to do things like that, but you have to pour into yourself. You absolutely have to. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Ooh, I have to ask you to say it again one more time.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's it, America. We're talking with the one and only Janae Broussard. She has an amazing brother that stands so tall. He had just been deactivated and separated from the Air Force when I met him. He didn't know yet that he changed his mind on what he wanted to do with his profession as a civilian until just recently. So I am so proud of you and your brother together as a duo serving. I met your mom. Her service connects more closely to my era. She was a bright light. I just knew something was special about your family when we met. We're not going to tell America yet where we met, but it was something of a new year time. And in this new year, you've done a lot since I met you, and you were willing to share your story today. I don't know if you were ready to share 9 months ago what we shared today with each other, but this is a proud moment for us to both be on camera saying that we had a sisterly moment today. I will admit that I'm an open book to my listeners, to my supporters, and especially to my sponsors, that, you know, every day is not a day when we feel okay. And it is okay not to be okay.
Yes,
but what is not okay is to not get up and fight the fight with faith. And so we mentioned that we love the Lord. We believe in God the Almighty that created the heavens and the seas. And if I didn't have the Lord today, I don't know where I would be. When I called you, you had exactly what I needed. And you were thanking me that I had what you needed.
Yes.
And that's just a sounding board, someone to talk to. Everyone, if you are contemplating taking your own life, this is raw and unnaturally scripted. I want you to stop everything and call somebody you know. Call somebody you haven't talked to in a long time and ask them about your value, what you mean to them. Tell them you love them. Tell them you need them. We are humans, even though we're service members and we're civilians with a hand up with our benefits that we earn. Sometimes we just need an ear. Janae, tell everybody what happened to us privately in that hour phone call we shared. How we just...
I believe that God 1000% made that happen today. The fact that you're here, I was just last night texting my cousin how I felt like I didn't want to dump, but I feel like I don't have anyone to talk to. I'm not going to tell my problems to a 6-year-old. And it just so happened I got off the phone with her, and about 15 minutes later, I have my phone in my hand and I saw your name come across. And the fact that we connected on the fact that we're feeling the same sort of feelings right now, there was no mistake. God did that on purpose. And I'm so grateful that he did.
Amen to that. Well, what we felt, fans listening, and thank you for listening to me for all of these years. In every guest, there is something innate. There's something just natural that we all need each other as service members and veterans and dependents. But sometimes you just can't talk to like anyone. There is a male and female difference. Even though Janae can see in her brother needs to talk about the Air Force happenings that happened to him, and they can bond, and they will always have that bond. They can just sit silently and have a toast and everything will be all right. Right, Janae?
Absolutely. That's funny. My mom was laughing about, he and I have always been close. That's been, as you saw, that's been my baby since we were kids. But there's times when he comes over here to my place or I'll go to his place and we'll just watch something and we'll just be sitting, not really talking, but the fact that we're in each other's presence is kind of healing. But also, there's those times where you have to tell somebody, you have to get it off your chest.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. We have an LVN. There's a number you can dial. You can text the VA. I just want to say, I'm not afraid to dial the number. I will give you the number and I will post it on the bottom of this recording on Facebook when we're done. But the crisis hotline is your friend. I promise you, it is confidential. And if you need to call me, you can reach me on all of the platforms. I am a confidant. I'm a claims benefits representative. I am bonded. I'm licensed in many states across as a veteran counselor. And I just want to say, thank goodness for the American Legion, the DAV, all of the VSOs, the VA itself, and for my military private platform, Camies2Civies. We get you, right, Janae?
Yes, it was an instant connection.
And when you're needed, it gives you the chance to have value that you do belong. What you're doing is making a difference. If you're touching one person and you stay alive for one day, you are making a difference. You are needed. You are loved. Hear me loud and clear. Labor Day is about laboring. And we both had our kids together, Janae and I, in a VA. Well, I had mine at Camp Pendleton, the Sand Canyon Hospital, first baby ever delivered in the Sand Canyon Hospital in 1991. We go through changes. And I was sharing with Janae, hormones are a trip. What's going on in your world? She's like, girl.
Yes.
But yeah, I could talk to your brother when we instantly bonded. We were talking about the rifle range. We were talking about needing to be qualified, how we still love the things that the Air Force and the Marine Corps gave us. And we should go to the range sometime. And we love to travel. We're going to do another cruise. And I think it's coming to pass right now. Speaking of cruises, Janae, you have like the quadrant of resilience. I was saying mentally, socially, physically, and spiritually. We connected on all those fronts today. We're both feeling okay. We decided to do this show impromptu. And I tell you, I know whoever's watching, they'll be able to watch 24 hours a day on the website. They'll be touched by your humility today. And you're cooking up something good on the stove. Tell me about cooking, cruising, and mani-pedis.
Oh, hobbies. As you can see with the makeup, the hair, the nails, I've always been a girly girl. Even while enlisted, that was within the limits or within the regs, but I always have been a girly girl. So that's one of my favorite things that I like to do. And my daughter is now getting into that, which has been an expensive habit, but it's our bonding time. I love it. Cooking. I first discovered I love to cook as a child. I took an interest. My grandma, I don't know if anyone remembers this show, but my grandma and I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. We used to watch the Emerald Show together. And I think that's where it kind of sparked an interest. And over the years, I started watching more and more cooking shows or reading cooking books just to read about them. And it's something that I enjoy doing. I find it relaxing. I feel like it's a labor of love. I feel like that's part of the way I show my love to others is through food. And what was the last thing? I apologize.
The last thing is talking about your daughter's perspective, Purity, and how she is the smartest ever. And you didn't realize that she and you would be connecting, and pedicures would mean a 6-year-old to a grown-up. Could be some deep conversation.
Yes. And then that also helped me remember the last thing previous thing, cruising. My very first cruise we went on when I was 7 years old. We went down to Ensenada and I loved it. I hadn't been on another cruise until I was an adult. About 3 years ago, I went to the Bahamas, and then I went to Cabo, Ensenada, and then here recently, just about 2 months ago, I went to the Bahamas again. And that's something that also my daughter enjoys. I want her to be able to see the world. And so that's a bonding experience for she and I, is traveling as well.
Yes, and water baby and princess she is.
Yes.
Princess Bree was so cute with your mom. You would have time, and I want to applaud your family. You actually had time to let her socialize because the cruise, we were on an elite ship that was brand new by 3 years. We went on the Friends together. That's
Yes.
how we met. And she was poised, and you can tell she's being brought up with those same Air Force credentials of courage and bravery. And she would go, and that's how I met you for her time. Share with me about what the ocean does and how she loved the surroundings for kids her age.
She loved it. She still talks about the cruise to this day and keeps asking me. She'll say, "Mommy, I want to go on another cruise and I want to go to another dance." She's talking about the New Year's Eve dance celebration. And so she loved it. And I was nice to let loose. They say that it takes a village. And those of us that we met on the cruise, like our little crew that we had met, I even looked at y'all look at y'all as being a part of my village, because everybody had eyes on little Bree, whether I just needed a moment, whether it's you sitting with her, or another friend watching her while I grabbed something. Everybody was there for Bree, and she loved that. She enjoyed it. She still talks about it. The ocean is healing. I truly believe that ocean air is healing. And I can't wait for our next adventure. I love it.
Amazing. I love the cruise line because of the military patriotism and honor they give to the troops. And in our group, we actually collected more than 10 veterans together to party and bring in the new year, which I'm still in touch with and you're still in touch with. Most of the
Yes.
veterans came from your family. 4 of them were from your family. And then myself, and we want to give a shout out to Daya Shakur. He is in radio. He works at a veteran department in Washington, D.C., and he's still serving veterans like we are too today. And we tore up the club, the bar, and we just sat around and told military stories the whole time. There was another gentleman from the Air Force that lives in Texas that we met. And it was just an amazing time to share our stories and good food and a family ethic, and really to be thankful to the Lord for all that we have, and to ring in the new year. It was fantastic. 7 days I'll never forget.
I would say that was a beautiful experience to bring in this year, and something that I'll cherish for a lifetime. The friends that I met on this cruise, the family that I
Yes,
met, I'd say.
most definitely. To those that have deployed, we know that sometimes you may remember vividly days during your deployments. And so I did not get the chance to deploy because I was so injured by training. I didn't deploy, but I still consider myself deployment ready, and something happens to you during those challenges, because my child was facing an orphanage when he was only 2 months old, for us to deploy on the first co-ed deployment to Somalia during 7 war efforts, including Desert Storm and Desert Shield. So I will never forget that traumatic time in my life, having to grapple with being injured and, lactating and trying to be scared that my child would have to go. And I was ready to go. And if it hadn't been for such magnanimous injuries, I would have deployed and my child would have been in an orphanage. And I want to share that today with moms that serve, because again, women veterans are different. We have different needs and we're affected by our service time a different way. But both my sons grew up with Marine Corps ethics. They love me. They respect and honor the military. They serve in our charity. And dependent youth need someone to help them understand that sacrifice, because sometimes there's a wall that we don't want to be up, but that's kind of a silent wall between spouses and our children. And sometimes, like you said, I can't just tell a 6-year-old when I'm having a day, but you
Yes.
can tell someone about um, CBT. So,
Yes.
Ovian Broussard, would you share with me some of your techniques? You talked about hobbies for self-help, but let's talk about CBT and how great the VA is looking toward progressive advancements to help us.
Absolutely. I recently completed a course of CBT about a trauma that I experienced in the military. And I do feel like CBT did play a big role in how I'm living day to day. had, like you mentioned earlier, had this been 9 months ago, I don't know if I would have been in the headspace per se to be able to talk about therapy or talk, but it is so, so necessary, and it is so, so helpful. I don't want anyone to ever feel ashamed. I feel like there's a stigma, especially when you're in the military, about seeking help. There is a huge stigma, like something's wrong with you. No, something is not wrong with you. You have to get it out, because sitting up, bottling up all your emotions, it's not going to do you any good. And it doesn't.
Yes.
So CBT, it's healing isn't linear. So in the span, I did CBT for about 6 months. I feel like my emotions were up and down, up and down. Some days I wanted to talk. Other days I'm mad because I don't want to talk. Other days I'm sad because of the things that we're talking about. And it got to a point where I even told my therapist, why do I have to keep talking about the same thing? I don't want to talk about this anymore. And she kept telling me, just trust it and do the work. And I'm not saying that I'm necessarily healed, because no one's ever fully healed, but I'm on the upward slope of healing.
So profound. First of all, everyone, we have to congratulate Miss Janae Broussard for confronting her issues. Once we admit we need help and we get the help, that is the upward swing towards being okay. And as a veteran, we're never going to be okay, but we can cope.
Yes.
And Janae, you shared something with me that is so touching and so real, that it brought me to tears, but there were happy tears because I thought I was alone today. And you said, Christina, it may look like I have it all together, but no one knows how I got my daughter dressed for school, how I made it to work today, how I completed my LVN duties, and I came home and I didn't get to watch that show. I didn't get to cook. I'm not on a cruise, but I made it through. My brother came over. We just sat there, didn't say a word. Share with me more about how you cope.
That typically is the coping mechanism. And for me, because I'm in a constant state of overstimulation during the day, when I do get that chance to decompress, I take advantage of it. And so even if it's just scrolling TikTok for an hour, that's like my time to just not think, turn my brain off a little bit. Not completely, because I'm a mom and I have things to do in that aspect, but I just get a chance to just, and that is a coping mechanism. But sometimes I've turned some of the things, like cooking, it's something I enjoy. So that's something that's kind of decompressing for me. I enjoy my beauty routines. So doing a face mask, like I was saying, or things like that, those, even though it's beneficial to me, it's helping me to cope as well. It's giving me some time to just be.
Thank you so much. And we
Thanks.
said together how much we love our military experience. We would not be the leaders and the fierce women that we are, to be mothers together and to have our military members around us for camaraderie, making it, possible for us to have someone else get it and be there for us. Sometimes we can still feel alone, and I'm still perplexed. How am I achieving all this and giving and being a philanthropist and a host and an event producer and a real estate broker, helping military families relocate, going multi-state, still studying, about to graduate with my master's? Like, it just still doesn't feel like enough. And you said, I feel that way too. And I'm like,
Pull the
how
words
can
right out of my mouth.
it be like that I'm lonely still, or I feel like I'm the peculiar one? What do you
Yes.
think?
I think that plays right back into what we were saying about carrying it well, because on the surface level, or the external version that people see of us, we're doing well. We're doing well. I can say that. But then on the inside, I feel the exact same way. Like, why do I feel a loneliness? And I think that all dials back to, like, accomplish it for everyone. They look at what they value differently, and what may seem like to another, they're rocking it, to us still might feel like it's not enough. And I feel like that's something that I've been trying to work on, living and taking right now for right now, trusting in God's plan that right now, where I'm at right now is right now. And maybe I may feel a little bit lonely, but God knows the desires of our hearts, and He's not going to allow me to be lonely forever.
Well, everyone, Creative Resiliency Solutions, CRS on air with our special Labor Day weekend guest. She labored a princess, Bree, and
Yes.
she labored in the military and became an LVN. And now she's going to be laboring toward planning her next travel trip where the great orcas lie. So tell us more about who keeps you going in San Diego.
So my mom's originally from San Diego, and all of my family is there, which is convenient. Living here in Vegas, it's close to go visit family. But Aubrey, as you've seen from meeting her, she loves the ocean. She loves animals. And I was just talking to my cousin the other day, and I was like, I've never taken her to SeaWorld. She'll just tell me random facts about orcas. I think that that's a trip that needs to happen very soon.
That pure perspective from your daughter lifts you up. Like, I know if you're feeling something private that you don't want her to know one day, she can just come along and say, Mommy, my toes look better than yours.
And she does. And
right?
Yes.
And she loves Disney.
Yes.
And there's something special. Like when you lose a pet, just say, I know veterans love pets for their therapy and also for service dog measures, and they travel too. But I haven't ever seen a cat traveling. Somebody I know had a childhood black and white cat, and you have one named after a Disney character, thanks to Bree.
Yes. So about 3 or so months ago, almost 4 months ago, I went and adopted our cat, and her name is Raya. Raya comes from one of the children's movies that Aubrey likes called Raya and the Last Dragon. And more deeply, I feel like that name resonates in our family because that movie is about resiliency. It's about being the one to save others, being the one essentially like helping others. In the movie, she's trying to save humanity. And I think that that's something that resonates with us quite a bit. I might not be trying to save the world, but in a sense, I'm trying to help save the people in my world.
Yes. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, everyone, we have a surprise for you. I met the greatest family, the Broussard family, on the cruise ship. We were sailing along, and that smile on Aubrey, she's definitely called to become something great. And we know that sometimes you may be planning on something or called to do something, but your plans change. So Aubrey's uncle got out of the Air Force when I met him the day on the ship, and he wanted to be one thing in space that day, and now he's changed. So what's going on with your brother? Please tell him I said hello.
I absolutely will. I'm supposed to see him in a few hours. I think he's going to come over.
Oh, great.
Prior to his separation, Jaren's always been into video games, technology, things like that. And he always wanted to go into the cyber field. Well, I found out about a month and a half ago, I knew that he was going to be starting college in the fall this year. He's actually going to be a radiologist now.
Wow, a family of medical clinicians. By the way, if you're interested in any force for your future, still, no matter what's going on around the world, the military is the best place for your foundation. Housing, health, employment, and education. We've talked about it all the way up to a doctorate degree. If you know how to get your benefits by starting at va.gov, create a profile, and you get unlimited education. I'm going to share more about these benefits on the next Christina Silva Show, that is, educating our Veterans Live episode with you, because it's important to know the VA is advancing. It's not the old VA where we all resent what time it took to get our claims done. Don't lose hope. Get help, call a friend, and use the acronym ACE, Assist, Care, and Execute. You've got to call someone when you need help, and you are responsible for the next step. You will benefit, and you are responsible for the next step into your future. Janae, it looks like you have a very bright future. You look so beautiful today.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, my goodness, I need you. I'm so glad our friendship has really, really propelled to the next level today. And like you said, we may not see each other for 9 months, but we're closer than we've ever been since we met on New Year's Eve. And we got to take another cruise very, very soon.
We do. Actually, if I might mention this, it's a couple years from now, but as you know, I'm in my BSN program. When I graduate, so that'll be summer of 2027, I want to take I want to do a week long, with all the people I love. And
Most
so
definitely.
now.
So get involved like Janae. Make sure you allow yourself self-time. Get that pedicure in your budget. There's an amazing way that you can command. Remember I said your eyes and your mind will take you where you want to go. You get those thoughts and you're not feeling good, you dispel them and call someone else. Let them take the lead. And now we're both okay. We're both feeling energized. We remember our Air Force creed. We remember our Airman's creed and our military occupational specialties. The training is in us forever to be resilient, to make sure we get back in the saddle, Marines. We got this because we're the few and the proud. And educating our veterans live, I'm telling you, it's a community responsibility. Look at your loved ones around you, look at your kids, your family mates, your extended family, and if anyone needs help at work, you can tell when someone has changed. Because if you reach out to them, you can save a life. Right, Miss Janae?
Absolutely.
So as we close the show, I want you to remember and thank a couple of people from the military and make a special statement to your family of service members.
I care for you all, and I'm proud of everybody, no matter what it is that you're going through. I'm proud of you just woke up and brushed your teeth today, because everyone's struggle is different and everybody's achievements are different. Everyone's timing is different. So just know, if no one told you, I'm proud of you. Even if we don't talk all the time, I'm proud of you. And I want to see great things.
Yes. I love myself. Say it, Janae.
I love myself.
And I love you out there, everyone. If you know me as the happy lady on a motorcycle. But even though I might be on two wheels, some days you never know what I'm going through. I never knew Janae was going through something, but I called her and I reached out, and I am so thankful for this show. We have some extra special guests coming up in our new fall season of the Christina Silva Show. So stay tuned. Things are going to be changing. And God is the reason why. So we just are thankful today, and gratitude can take you a very long way. Thanks so much for listening and so much for your service, dependents included, because from Camies2Civies, we transform, adapt, and overcome. God bless America.
God bless.
And bye-bye.
Bye.
Be safe.
You as well. Bye-bye.